This radio program is PG-13. Parents strongly caution some material may be inappropriate for children under the age of 13.
The following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Phoenix! Brother Mike is back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. Thanks for tuning into the program. May God richly bless you. Thanks for celebrating my 23rd year on the radio. Sure do appreciate that. My anniversary was in February. We're in March now. We're marching forward. Today's Bible study, The Rise of the Occult. Got kind of a scary one for you today. Please call somebody and tell them the radio program is on. This is Brother Mike. I am the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center. We're downtown on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. It's a red brick building. HardcoreChristianity.com is a website. All of our services are on there. We have 2 live services every week, Thursday, Friday nights at 7 o'clock. 3 live Zoom services every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Monday night is for the ladies only. Please remember our Sunday worship service at 3 o'clock. Please remember my podcast also on Sunday. That's at 9 a.m. for my shut-ins. Please remember we have a children's healing service, preteens only, the first Saturday of every month. And we have a deliverance training class and a discipleship course. That's free. 4th Saturday of every month at noon. Please remember to hit the PayPal button and send us another donation and keep us on the air for another, I don't know how many years. You know, I'm an old person now, so I don't know how many years I've got left, but I plan on staying on the radio until I kick the bucket, as they say in the business. The rise of the occult. In Revelation chapter 13, and you've read this, a nightmare spreads over the entire planet Earth. This thing's so horrible, it's unbelievable. Daniel called the Antichrist the little horn in his writings, but in Revelation 13, the Apostle John called him the beast, the rise of the Antichrist. The little horn, or the beast, we know comes from the Middle East. He will rise and he will, through war, take over 3 kingdoms, and then 7 other kingdoms will submit to him. And he will be a direct ruler of 10 kingdoms initially. And he comes from the Middle East, the Bible teaches us. But the false prophet is the secret sauce behind the Antichrist. And he is the greatest occult practitioner in the history of the world. He will be the most powerful occult practitioner that ever lived. Even more powerful than the great Nimrod, who lived over 4,000 years ago. Nimrod was frightening. He made Hitler and Stalin look like Sunday school teachers. But moving forward to the false prophet, this is the scariest and most dangerous human that ever lived, because he is a practitioner of the occult. Paul warns us about it in 2 Timothy chapter 3. He says, verse 1, "Know this, in the last days perilous times shall come." That's the Greek word kalapos. It means dangerous. Dangerous times shall come. And he says, men will be lovers of their own selves. Now, this is what Paul is saying humanity will be like in the future, before the tribulation, as we head into the tribulation. And he lists 19 things about human beings, and they're all bad. He lists 19 things in 2 Timothy chapter 3. Couldn't be any clearer. And when he's done listing those 19 things, he then drops a bomb on us in verse 8. He says, in the future, occultism will rise to the forefront in the entire world. He says these people in the future are similar to Janus and Jambres when they withstood Moses. Verse 8. So do these also resist the truth. They are men of corrupt minds. They are reprobate concerning the faith. Reprobate, Greek word adakimus, it means useless, rejected. Someone who has a reprobate mind has a mind that has been considered useless and rejected by God because it is a mind that has rejected faith. Men of corrupt minds. Listen to me very carefully. Once sin takes hold, it never stays the same. It always gets worse. Once corruption gets a foothold, it always gets worse. And it's like a snowball coming down the hill. You cannot stop it. You can slow it down at times, but you cannot stop it once corruption sets in. That's why King Saul had to be eliminated, because God saw that corruption had set in, and God knew that it would never stop. And sure enough, it didn't stop, and it always got worse. That's exactly what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. The corruption had got in, and it became exponentially worse over time. And it got so bad that the entire area had to be eliminated. Once corruption settles into your family, your job, your house, your church, it never stays the same. It always gets worse. Then in verses 9 through 11, Paul explains that the results of these people with these 19 negative traits in the future, they will cause persecution. And he lists himself in these verses as an example of persecution. Then he explains that we will be persecuted. We will be persecuted. It says in verse 9, they will proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest to all, as also the folly of the two sorcerers of Egypt. Now remember, when Moses came to Pharaoh to fulfill his call of God on his life to remove the children of Israel from Egypt, he faced the top two occult artists that ever lived on the face of the earth. Egypt was the occult center of the entire planet. And these two guys, Janus and Jambres, they were the top two occult practitioners in Egypt. They were so powerful, check this out, they were able to perform similar miracles to God. The text says that Moses threw his shepherd's staff down and it became a snake. And Pharaoh says, I'm not impressed with that. That's a bunch of crap. Here, watch this. He calls up his two occult magicians. They threw their sticks down. They became snakes. And then, of course, Jehovah sent Pharaoh a little message there. He had Moses' snake eat the other two snakes. But if you'll remember, the plague of frogs came out of the river Nile, the Nile River, and flooded Egypt. And Pharaoh called on his magicians, and their occult practitioners also made frogs come out of the Nile. But they could not duplicate the next plague, which was lice. The lice came in, and God turned sand into lice. That was a creative miracle. Well, the devil can't do that, and his occult practitioners couldn't do it. So they came to Pharaoh and said, wait a minute, this must be the hand of God. We can't replicate these miracles. We were good with the sticks and the staff, turning it into snakes. We got that one. And we were good with the frogs. We got that one. But this lice thing, this is bad news. We can't replicate it and we can't stop it. If you go back to 2 Timothy chapter 3 again, which is basically the chapter where Paul predicts the rise of the occult before the Antichrist. In verse 13, 2 Timothy 3:13 says, "But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived." Now, the Greek word for seducers in this verse is not your normal Greek word, planos. It's actually the Greek word goes. Goes means an enchanter, a witch, a wizard, an occult practitioner. Just like Pharaoh had in Egypt, the practitioners of the occult. And what Paul's saying here is that evil men, the Greek word for evil there is poneros, it means perverted. Perverted humans and practitioners of the occult will wax worse and worse, deceiving people and deceiving themselves. That's what that verse actually says in the Greek text. 2 Timothy 3:13. Here Paul is telling us the nightmare is on its way because the false prophet has to arise to help establish the Antichrist kingdom in an atmosphere of spirituality, spiritualism, and occult practitioners. The occult in America is going to accelerate rapidly. You notice Baphomet popping up in statues around the country. You notice schools allowing Satan groups, after-school Satan groups. You see this happening in America. Now, we haven't caught up with Asia or Africa yet, that's true, but it's coming. If you have had anything to do with the occult in your past, Ouija boards, tarot, crystals, anything like that, you picked up familiar spirits, and eventually they're going to give you a terminal illness, and they're going to wreck your body with chronic arthritis and cancer. But you can be delivered of that. We see people delivered of witchcraft and occult demons all the time. 602-636-5800. God loves you and He wants you to be free. He wants to forgive you for what you've done in the past. If you've been involved in New Age, you need to come in and get delivered, and you better do it quickly. Your life is at stake. See you next time.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.